watching Superfast 50. I'm Shivangi Shukla. The ED conducted searches at around 40 locations spread across Delhi and some states as part of a money laundering investigation into alleged irregularities in the Delhi excise policy. Around 38 to 40
that the enforcement directorate would be looking into. Now, the allegation essentially being is that this policy was drafted in a manner that it was basically benefiting only the bigger players, bigger liquor players in this entire game. Now, what turns out is that when you're talking about the bigger players, we're talking about companies like Mahadev Liquor. We're talking about another company which goes by the name of Indigo Spirits.
Around 38 to 40 premises in Delhi, Telangana, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Haryana, UP and Karnataka are being searched, and private individuals and some government officials named in the case are being raided.
Aam Aadmi Party, though, is under crisis, under these raids. What they're trying to do again is that, they have now made an attempt to make sure that, they get a political mileage of it. So what we today saw at the press conference, which was held by Arvind Kejriwal, was that he did not mention about these raids that, that are being conducted by the Enforcement Directorate.
10 ED teams are currently on ground as the raids are underway in multiple locations across the country. Remember, the ED raids follow a probe initiated in the case under the criminal sections of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act after taking cognizance of a CBI FIR.
In link with Delhi new excise policy, ED is conducting searches at 30 locations in Delhi, Gurugram, Hyderabad, Bangalore and Mumbai, and including these different locations, ED will also we are to believe that ED will also conduct searches at the residence of Deputy CM Manish Sisodia.
The residence of the managing director of Indospirit, Sameer Mahendru, was searched earlier today as part of the massive ED raids in the Liquor Gate probe. Sameer Mahendru's Jorbagh residence was raided during the searches at the residences of several vendors, distributors and middlemen engaged by the Delhi government under its now scrapped excise policy.
Officers inside the residence of Sameer Mahendru, and we are showing you the pictures of his residence. A couple of minutes back we had seen an officer inside his residence, and he along with other officers are inside the residence of Sameer Mahendru, who is now being raided. That's the location, that's the very premises, the office of not only office but also the residential complex of Sameer Mahendru, and he lives here. He is
Sources tell the Republic that ED will analyze if individuals and companies who were involved in the making of this scheme and related entities generated any proceeds of crime under definition of PMLA, and if there was any possible creation of illegal or Benami assets. Hours after the Enforcement Directorate carried out searches at multiple locations in the Delhi excise policy money laundering case, Deputy CM Manish Sisodia said he has nothing to hide and did his job honestly. He says that the CBI did not find anything in the raids and it won't be too different with the ED.
पहले इन्होंने CBI के छापे मारे, उसमें कुछ नहीं निकला. अब ED के छापे मार लेंगे, उसमें भी कुछ नहीं निकलेगा. पूरी कोशिश ये है कि बस किसी तरह से जो देश में शिक्षा का माहौल बना, अरविंद केजरीवाल जी काम कर रहे हैं, उसको रोक दिया जाए.
Liquor Gate accused Vijay Nair's residence is currently being searched by the Enforcement Directorate. As per CBI FIR, he was actively involved in irregularities in the framing and implementation of the excise policy of GNCTD of Delhi for the year 2021 to the year 2022. Hours after the raids began in the residence of accused number 5, Vijay Nair in Mumbai, Republic tracked down his residence where the raids were taking place, which were in fact still underway as we speak.
15 and more accused in that case, and now Enforcement Directorate is in fact carrying out searches at several locations in the same case, and now the ED officials are here at this flat. This is 3801 flat number, wherein Vijay Nair, one of the main accused in the excise policy case, resides here, and in fact he resides here, and Enforcement Directorate officials are carrying out searches at several locations across the country.
As part of the multi-state raids, ED is currently carrying out researches at the residence of Punjab Excise Joint Commissioner Naresh Dubey in Panchkula. The Republic is closely tracking those raids in Punjab as well.
In fact, all the policies, including education policy, liquor policy, all are on the line of Delhi government, and in fact they are claiming that they are trying to facilitate the people, not the contractors. And in fact, the raid of ED at Joint Commissioner's residence of Punjab Excise Department Naresh Dubey is a first clear-cut indication that now the investigation of Enforcement Directorate regarding the liquor gate is spreading towards the Punjab, and in fact Punjab is now in the line of fire of the investigating agencies as well.
Delhi BJP MLAs will meet President Draupadi Murmu today to demand dismissal of Aam Aadmi Party government over a host of issues, including allegations of corruption against its ministers. The BJP leaders will submit a memorandum to Murmu. Torrential overnight rains left India's IT capital struggling as inundation and waterlogging threw life out of gear, leading there to a public outpour of anger against alleged misgovernance and the crumbling civic infrastructure.
There is a picture that entire Bangalore is in problem. Entire Bangalore is not in problem. Basically, two zones, that too particularly one zone, Madhepura zone, is in problem for two reasons. One is it has got 69 tanks in that small area. All are breached, all are overflowing. Second is, all the establishments are in the lower things. Third is encroachments have been done. So all these reasons it has been done, but we have taken it as a challenge.
Using boats and tractors to cross submerged streets by office goers and school children have become a common sight in waterlogging in localities like Rainbow Drive layout, Sunny Brooks layout, and some areas of Sarjapur Road, were to a lot of extent that tractors and boats were also used to ferry the students and office goers in the morning. 23-year-old Akila has lost her life after she was electrocuted. The incident took place under the Whitefield police station, where she attempted to navigate a flooded road and came in contact with an electric pole. But even as the citizens are paying the price for the heavy rains that continue to wreak havoc across the city, politicians are busy blaming each other for the civic apathy. The Karnataka CM there has blamed the previous Congress government for the dire situation in India's IT capital.
This is done because of maladministration and totally unplanned administration of the previous government, Congress government. This is the result of bad administration of the Congress government. They have given permissions right, left, center in the lakes, on the tank bunds, on the buffer zones. That is the reason for this.
The Karnataka government has announced that rupees 1,500 crores for development of storm water drains in the state. The state has announced rupees 300 crore to remove all encroachments and do a pakka structure along the storm water drains and for the infrastructure so that there are no, in fact, impediments and bottleneck in the flow of water.
I have taken it as a challenge and I have given 1,500 crores for all this rainwater storm drain.
Bihar CM NITISH Kumar met his Delhi counterpart Arvind Kejriwal on the second day of his visit to the national capital with an aim to unify the opposition in run-up to the 2024 Lok Sabha polls. He also met left leaders Sitaram Yechury and D. Raja. BJP has called for a strategy meet in the upcoming week ahead of the big 2024 elections. Remember, this also comes on the backdrop of NITISH Kumar's visit to the national capital, where he's currently meeting top opposition leaders. Whether or not he could be the opposition's contender for PM in the next elections remains now to be seen. The Goa court has sent the two main accused Sudhir Sangwan and Sukhvinder Singh to the 2-day police custody. As far as the investigation goes, the Goa police team reached Sangwan's residence on Sunday and made some inquiries there before leaving for Gurugram to conduct further investigation. TMC MLA Paresh Pal was summoned by the CBI in post-poll violence case. This comes after the CBI interrogated 2 TMC MLAs in connection with the violence following last year's assembly election in West Bengal. NIA team has raided 32 locations in Dakshina Kannada district of Karnataka. The BJP Yuva Morcha workers Praveen Nitaru's murder case. Multiple NIA teams have been searching the premises of the suspects there. In fact, this also happened in Mangaluru in its ongoing probe into the murder of the 32-year-old BJP Yuva Morcha leader. The PM of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, met PM Modi as part of her 4-day visit to India, where she thanked the Indian government for its cooperation.
हमेशा आभारी हूँ भारत के और कि हमारा देश जब स्वाधीनता और किया, जब लिबरेशन वार हुआ तो यहाँ के लोगों ने जैसा हमारा साथ थे, सपोर्ट की, और बहुत लोग उनका जितना कंट्रीब्यूशन है हम हमेशा इसको स्वागत करती हूँ और हम रियली आभारी हूँ. सो मेरे ओर से भारतवासी को हमारा शुभेच्छा, स्वागतम.
The big announcement by the PM there following the delegation level talks with the Bangladesh side. He stated that a comprehensive economic partnership agreement would resume soon.
हमारा आपसी सहयोग भी हर क्षेत्र में तेजी से बढ़ा है. आज बांग्लादेश भारत का सबसे बड़ा डेवलपमेंट पार्टनर और क्षेत्र में हमारा सबसे बड़ा ट्रेड पार्टनर है. हमारे घनिष्ठ सांस्कृतिक और पीपल टू पीपल संबंधों में भी निरंतर वृद्धि हुई है.
The Indian and Bangladesh sides held a high-level delegation meet as part of the Bangladesh PM Sheikh Hasina's visit to India, where key discussions on bilateral issues were held. The Indian and Bangladesh side signed 7 memorandums of understanding as part of the delegation-level talks between the two sides in the national capital.
सिन्हा जी और मैंने सभी द्विपक्षीय, क्षेत्रीय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मुद्दों पर व्यापक चर्चा की. हम दोनों का मानना है कि कोविड महामारी और हाल के वैश्विक घटनाक्रम से सीख लेकर हमें अपनी अर्थव्यवस्थाओं को और मजबूत बनाना होगा.
The Bangladesh PM, after the meet with the PM Modi, said that TEESTA water sharing treaty is a priority for both the governments. The Modi government move to rename Rajpath to CONTERPART as part of its drive to abolish the colonial mindset has sparked another political debate, with the Congress among the opposition voices questioning that move. After the Congress, now the TMC also questioned the move to rename Rajpath. TMC MP Mahua Moitra asked whether the centre would also rename the new Prime Minister's residence next. Sri Lankan nationals arrested again in Kollam today. 6 men, 4 women and 1 child were arrested. Police said that they were part of a group that tried to cross into Canada. With this, the number of people arrested has increased to 22. Road blocked near the Ramban area in Jammu and Kashmir due to landslide. Traffic movement on Jammu and Srinagar highway also halted after the landslide. Befitting reply to Pakistan's provocation in the Ania sector of Jammu alert, BSF forces came into immediate action and responded to the unprovoked firing by Pakistan Rangers as they fired upon the patrolling party of BSF. No casualties were reported in that firing. Today, the local people of Darogar Alga, Pakhura Chark have voluntarily demolished the madrasa and the residence adjacent to the madrasa, which was previously used by two suspected Bangladeshi nationals as a strong resentment to their jihadi activities. The arrested accused, Jaleel Sheikh, has engaged with both the absconding Bangladeshi AQIS and ABT cadres as teachers of this Darogar Alga Pakhurachar madrasa at different times during the year 2020 to 2022. No government resources were used in the said demolition. Youth Congress workers held protests outside the Telangana Assembly. The police had detained the protesters. The SHO of the Tilak Marg Police Station, New Delhi, has submitted action taken report ATR before Rouse Avenue District Court in Delhi in a criminal complaint case moved against KT Jaleel, MLA, Kerala CPIM, for registration of FIR and criminal action for sedition charges by GS Money Advocate Supreme. Wife of suspended BJP leader T. Raja Singh has moved the Telangana High Court challenging his re-arrest under Preventive Detention Act. The High Court is set to hear the matter in the coming days. She says the present detention order came to be passed only to satisfy a section of people who are not public at large. Union Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal, who is on a 6-day visit to San Francisco and Los Angeles, said that India and the US are focused on expanding their relationship, and for that, both countries are in a dialogue to come up with the next move for enhancing their bilateral ties.
Our relationship between the US and India has gone from strength to strength on the back of people-to-people relations. The large Indian diaspora, the increasing business. We are now at about $159 billion of bilateral trade and growing year on year. And this is only in goods. When you bring in services into the picture, the number goes even beyond probably $190 or $200 billion. The fact that both countries shared tremendous interests in a world which is peaceful, a world which is open to business, a world which believes in democracy, transparency.
Supreme Court has extended the TMC leader Abhishek Banerjee's protection from arrest in the case of Bengal coal scam. The Enforcement Directorate had told the Supreme Court that TMC MP Abhishek Banerjee may seek approval from a local court for going abroad for a medical procedure. A bench comprising of Chief Justice Uday Umesh Lalit and Justice S. Ravindra Bhatt took note of the joint submissions of the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta and Senior Advocate Kapil Sibal and adjourned the hearing on the plea of Banerjee. Supreme Court is set to hear Ukraine returnee students' plea to continue medical education in India on September 15. A batch of petitions were filed seeking the relief of allowing, in fact, nearly 20,000 Indian students who had to return from Ukraine due to Russian attack to complete their medical education in India. Cricketer Suresh Raina has announced his retirement from all forms of cricket. The announcement ends Raina's IPL and domestic career in cricket, but opens up opportunity to play in the T20 League across the globe. Remember, Raina called it quits from international cricket in the year 2020, moments after Mahendra Singh Dhoni announced his retirement. On Monday evening, the BSF troops foiled Pakistan's narcotics smuggling in Punjab. According to the troops, 4 suspicious packets containing heroin were recovered on the tip-off of a local villager there in the district of Punjab. The forces said that packets were laying on the side of BSF fence and that immediate search was operated in the nearby areas. A case has been registered against hotel owners Rahul Agarwal, Rohit Agarwal, Pawan Agarwal and General Manager Sagar Srivastava in Lucknow hotel fire incident. A case registered under Section 304, 308 of IPC there at the Hazratganj police station in Lucknow. The era of Boris Johnson is over as Liz Truss takes over the office of British PM. The outgoing PM of the UK made his final address today. In his 20 minutes farewell speech, Boris has now pledged fervent support to his successor Liz Truss and listed the achievements and works done by his government.
Lacquered black door, a new Prime Minister will shortly go to meet a fantastic group of public servants. The people who got Brexit done. The people who delivered the fastest vaccine rollout in Europe, and never forget, 70% of the entire population got a dose within 6 months, faster than any comparable country. That is government for you. That's this Conservative government.
Even as Ukraine continues to resist Russia's invasion, Boris patted the back of his government for backing Ukraine and assured that the upcoming government of Liz Truss would continue the support. Boris emphasized that the early supplies of weapons to Ukraine may have helped change the course of the biggest European war.
Because of the speed and urgency of what you did, everybody involved in this government, to get this economy moving again from July last year, in spite of all the opposition, all the naysayers, we have and will continue to have that economic strength to give people the cash they need to get through this energy crisis that has been caused by Putin's vicious war.
Dozens of local Palestinians clashed with Israeli soldiers as a bus shooting incident took place in the Jordan Valley. The recent footage shows that the locals were throwing projectiles and blazed the grass, targeting soldier weapons. Currently, 2 suspects were subsequently arrested and apprehended. The armed forces of Venezuela announced the largest marijuana bust in the South American country. Members of the armed forces caught a vessel carrying more than 6,293 pounds of marijuana from a boat. Currently, 2 large helicopters, military vehicles, tens and dozens of armed soldiers are deployed at that site. In Naples city of Italy, dozens of protesters burned the gas and electricity bills against the price rise in energy and food prices. Protesters gathered in the front of the Central Post Office and later marched toward the town hall.
Napoli alza la testa, abbiamo incendiato le...
Sono latte, pasta, ora anche pelati.
La disoccupazione è scesa, ma noi non pensano soltanto agli affari, a guerra, al business, ma stanno preparando un'altra pandemia.
The Russian Defense Ministry reported that Vostok 2022 drills military units will practice now defensive and offensive operations in the assigned area. More than 50,000 servicemen and over 5,000 units of military equipment will participate in those exercises. French Foreign Minister Catherine Colonna met Turkish counterpart in Ankara today. The ministers discussed bilateral relations and regional security issues, including Russia-Ukraine war. Canadian police search for 2 men suspected of killing 10 people in a series of stabbing in an indigenous community in a nearby town. A massive manhunt for the perpetrators of one of the deadliest attacks stretched into the second day. Canadian PM Justin Trudeau offers condolences and assures to monitor the situation carefully. Foreign ministers of Morocco and Jordan met in Amman. Morocco has shown support to Jordan's role in the Palestinian cause. Jordan to express support toward Morocco's territorial integrity and the need to resolve the Sahara issue there. Germany will continue the shutdown of its last 3 remaining nuclear power plants while keeping options to reactivate 2 of them. Officials said that the looming energy crisis is one of the primary reasons.